As much as I talk about so many furry topics on this channel, you guys always see this purple and blue circle. I've gone into a little bit of who he is, but I've never gone fully in depth of his interests, story, what he represents, and all those nitty-gritty details. Until today. Today I'm going to go in depth and talk about the trans mask himself. Cue the obligatory intro. So Cain was essentially created out of me simply wanting a circle character. They were my first fascination in the fandom, as I was really obsessed with Rin, a circle fursuit dancer, and his suit just captivated me when I was first in the fandom. I loved it, so I decided I'm gonna make my own circle. So Cain came into existence. Did not think much of him and just went along with my day. I like creating characters for fun, and it happens all the time. But I think it's important to note that at the time I was struggling a lot with a Fursona. I had to, but they weren't really sticking. One of them was a German Shepherd and Wolf hybrid named Zeke, and then I had an Arctic Fox named Blake, and they just weren't working. One day, out of boredom, I decided to draw Cain again, and this time I drew him with his colors, and I immediately just stopped, and I fell in love and said, no, this is my Fursona. I finally had a character that I connected with. I think it's important to note that around this time, my sexuality was being solidified. In case you guys don't know, I'm bisexual. I was confident saying I'm definitely bisexual, and his colors mostly represent the bisexual pride flag, without me even realizing, which is something that most likely made me feel connected to him. But now that I had decided on a Fursona, he needed a story. I wanted to represent myself as his creature, so I wanted him to have a story. Funny enough, his original story came from a dream I had, which I'll explain his old story very briefly. Dystopian world organization where humans and anthros coexist, new generations of anthros start developing superpowers, organization sees that, kidnaps the children, and starts training them to basically enslave humanity. Cain is a special case where he's free-spirited, ends up finding out about what's going on with the organization, tries stopping them, and blah blah blah, you see where this is going. My main problem with this story was that it was 1, pretty cliche, and 2, was too similar to another story I had. So middle of 2020, I scrapped it entirely. I ended up revamping it with a similar premise, except it was Cain trying to decide if he wanted to be a good guy or wanted to be a bad guy, which is an interesting premise, but it ended up getting really complicated. So I kept the elements that I liked about the story and scrapped things that were complicated, and eventually I settled on a story which is a whole lot different from what I wanted initially, but is also unlike my other stories that I have right now, which is a win-win for me. Watch me remake this video later down the line with a completely different story. Okay. Storytime recap. Is a kid in high school and is bullied for being trans with people calling him not a real man. Ends up getting into a fight with a student and gets expelled on his last warning. Lily, his mother, is struggling to find another school that will take him when she finds a school that helps kids in need. In case you aren't aware, Cain has anger issues, but also struggles with a lot of mental health issues such as anxiety and gender dysphoria. The school he's sent to is like a dream school. There's hundreds of different classes to choose from, free psychologists and counselors on campus, dorms you can decorate however you want and are optional, a giant food court, and you can even order food to your dorm. You can leave class whenever you want, you take mental health days off once a teacher is informed, there's no dress code, students have input on decision making around the school and is focused on collaboration. Learning isn't just in the classroom, it's in work experience and on trips. They have students set goals for themselves every term. They are paid allowance every week. It is legit a dream school. Basically, if you can dream it, it's this school. So he ends up moving away and going to the school, but also struggling to interact with new people, and just fitting in general. But he ends up making connections with a Red Fox feminist, being Vixen, and a shy a cappella singing German Shepherd Dragon hybrid, Fenrir. But also ends up gaining a father figure since his dad died, which his dad's name is Scuff. And that father figure that he has is his school counselor, Tobias, who helps him with this internalized transphobia and toxic masculinity that was implanted by his transphobic bullies from his old school. Yeah, a completely different story than what it was initially. So now that his story is out of the way, what is the circle boy like himself? Cain I would describe to be as awkward and a little fight or flighty at times, but despite that, wants to be there for his friends no matter the cost of him getting hurt. His loyalty is the one thing that is always guaranteed by him, and that's only if you get on his good side. If you get on his bad side, his spite will make sure it comes slapping you in the face. Despite him being awkward a bit, he is also a charmer and has his way with the ladies. Yeah, he's a fuckboy. Unlike me, because when I'm around girls, I'm like, oh my god, boobies. I mean titties. I mean mommy. Fuck. He's also a punk, specifically a big fan of the Ramones, Destructo Disc, Dead Kennedys, and The Clash. Damn! I wonder where he gets his music from. He enjoys playing guitar, playing video games, collecting vinyls, making DIY clothing, like painting shoes and sewing patches onto his battle jacket, which is something his dad did and got him into. And also, unlike me, he's a good cook, which you gotta appreciate. So now that we have that out of the way, what does he represent? We're going ad lib, so we know what this means. I'm gonna go on a massive rant of a bunch of bullshit. So yeah, I'm so sorry when I go ad lib. We all know y'all hate it. Anyway, or maybe it's just me who hates it and thinks it's annoying. Yeah, it's that. Anyway, what does Cain represent? A lot of my Fursonas and characters usually, my Fursonas, usually just represent a certain thing. For example, Lorcan just represents me as a whole. Then we have Fenrir, who is a way of going back to 15-year-old me to reassure them, basically to comfort my inner child is the best way. Vixen just represents my feminine side that is very, very rare. And also my mothering and nurturing side. And then you have Conan, who is representing of my collector side, which so for, collecting vinyls, collecting video games, which is my main thing. I'm a video game collector, and just love for old technology and stuff like that. So where does Cain fit in? What does he represent? Initially when I created him when I was 15, he was my aspirational character. He was who I wanted to be. So he represented then my goal as to who I wanted to become. But now that I've gotten older and I've kind of grown into Cain a bit more, and I didn't necessarily need an aspirational character to be anymore, I've learned to accept that my social anxiety will always be there with me, so therefore I didn't need to, I guess, constantly keep going, reaching for that inevitable goal of having no anxiety at all, which is never going to happen. I'm always going to have it, but that doesn't mean I can't manage it. I definitely can manage it. I've gotten this far, so I didn't necessarily need an aspirational character anymore, so therefore it was kind of weird always saying, oh yeah, he's an aspirational character, even though he's not like that anymore for me, especially because I'm turning 20 next year. I don't really need a aspirational character like that anymore. Not saying that it's bad to have it, it's still a good thing to have. It's very, as I said, Cain was very powerful for me back then, and he still is now, but he's just not as, he just has a different role to play now. So you can still have an aspirational character, for, whatever age you are. It's just right now I don't need to have that anymore. I've gone through what I needed, so therefore he needs to have a different role, So I just kind of give a thought about it. What is something that I still struggle with that Cain can help with? And definitely the one thing that I sometimes have trouble with is staying grounded and staying I guess, yeah, staying grounded is the best way I can probably say it. I get knocked off course quite a lot when it comes to little things. Sometimes I'll be having a bad day and I'll just be having a shit day, or I'll just be thinking too much, which is something I do a lot, or any of that sort, and I'm just not feeling great or feeling the best at all. Cain is my reminder to stay strong and to kind of remind myself of the strength of a lot of the crap that I've been through, because a lot of the stuff I've been through has not been easy, and it's definitely something that I need, because I kind of forget, oh yeah, that happened, that isn't easy to go through, so of course healing is not going to be linear, it's going to be up and down. So therefore, he's my way of kind of keeping me to get back up on my feet, which I think is a great thing to have, and especially now, because I still struggle with, I hate the term feeling sorry for myself, I hate it, but when I'm just not feeling it and I don't feel like I'm capable, he's my reminder that I am capable of going through whatever it is that may be troubling me at that certain time. So that's really what he represents now, and I think that's great, and it's definitely something that I need. But he also represents my spite, which is ironically a toxic trait of mine. I have a really, although I do have a different view on what spite is. I think there's two different types of spite. There's people who have really toxic spite just to get a rise out of people, and then there's spite that I call justified spite, which is basically, I've had like a lot of people wrong me, so therefore me having this, I have this undying urge to show them and prove them wrong, which is also really toxic, and I probably should get rid of it, but in a way it's kind of kept me alive, if that makes sense. There was so many times when I could have just let them win over me, especially because they kept me down for so long. Therefore my spite was kind of there, like, yeah, but what if you actually did that? And annoyed the absolute fuck out of them. And I'm like, hell fucking yeah, that sounds like a great idea. It is a horrible part of me, but at the same time, I kind of just don't give a shit. I am completely aware how toxic this sounds, so I low-key really hate it, but at the same time, I also just don't care. It is just something that I have, that if someone has wronged me in the past, and I'm not talking about little petty things, I'm talking about really, really hard shit. I'm talking about people who like bullied me in the past and stuff. I have this undying urge to be like, you were an asshole to me. And I didn't say shit. I was a really quiet kid. Watch me fucking right now. And oh my god, watching them jaw drop when I say something to them like, oh yeah, like I did this and this, and they're like, oh, wow, that's actually, that's really impressive. And I'm like, yeah, you always told me that I'd never get that far. And just watching them struggle to like comprehend it's wonderful. Oh, it's toxic, I know, but shit feels good. So yeah, that's really it for this video. If you guys liked it, leave a like, and if you leave a dislike, don't worry, no one will be able to see it. Thanks, YouTube. And if you guys want to see more content from me, be sure to hit the subscribe button. We're nearly at 400 subscribers. That is fantastic. I don't know if we've already hit it by the time that this video comes out, because I am working and it takes up so much of my time that I literally only have one video really come out this month. Technically 2 from that small one that I uploaded. But like, it's driving me insane. But my job is great though. I do like it, and I might miss it after they let me go, because it's only a Christmas term job. But yeah, so hopefully more content to come out for 2022, because I'm recording this on Christmas Day. So yeah, I know this will probably come out maybe after Christmas. Yeah, this will come out definitely after Christmas. So yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, so yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video talking about Cain, talking about the boy himself. So yeah, that's it. See you guys later.
You never see it coming.